Your Jupiter placement will show you where you'll find the most success, luck, and abundance in your entire life. When you tap into the energy of your personal Jupiter placement, you'll be able to usher in new abundance into your life and become the highest and luckiest version of yourself. Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Here we like to talk about astrology, numerology, and everything written in the stars for you. In this video, we're going to be talking about the planet Jupiter and how you can tap into your own personal Jupiter placement in order to become the most financially successful and abundant version of yourself. Knowing the house that your Jupiter placement is in is very important in finding the themes you should really focus on in your day-to-day life in order to become very successful. There are 12 houses in astrology. I'm going to be going through each and every one of them and where your Jupiter placement might be in for you in order to find where you'll find the most success and luck. Let's start with the first house. The first house in astrology is known for appearances. It's how you view yourself in this world. It is your outward personality. It can include things like your facial features, your hair color, the way you dress, your body type. Even your name involves things in the first house. It's also your own perception of yourself, how you view yourself. It's your self-confidence, and it's how you really present yourself outwardly in the world and how you see yourself. When you picture yourself internally, it's how you view yourself outwardly. When you have planet Jupiter in your first house, this could take on a number of different things. Jupiter tends to expand upon anything it touches, and when it's in your first house, it could go a few different ways. It can indicate that you are very good looking. You might become famous or very lucky for something involving your own appearance. There are many very famous celebrities or even models who have Jupiter in their first house because they find the most luck and abundance in their appearance, and when they embody their first house, they find the most success there. For a celebrity example, Lil Peep has Jupiter in his first house. This indicates that he was very famous and successful for something that he did with his appearance. He had a lot of face tattoos. A lot of people really focused on his appearance, even though he was creating music and writing and creating poetry. A lot of people focused on his appearance, and it helped him become very successful. He found so much luck in his appearance that he was even able to go to runway shows and model and things like that as well. So having Jupiter in your first house can really indicate having a very strong perception of yourself and having a lot of luck in your own personal identity and the way that you see yourself. You'll also find a lot of luck in simply just your appearance, and when other people see you, there might be something about your appearance that will give you a lot of luck. Again, you could be a model, you could use your appearance doing content or taking photos of yourself or doing video. You even have the opportunity of becoming famous on something like TikTok simply for your own appearance. Now, another thing about Jupiter in the first house, this could also indicate expansion on your own appearance. You could be somebody who's very, very tall or big or just a very large person, because Jupiter can indicate expansion and growth. And the first house is all about our own personal appearances. So you could be somebody who's very, very tall. You could be like 6'8" and like a basketball player or something like that. Or you could just be a very large person. You could be somebody who is just very, very big. And you could embody the traits of Jupiter, which is the biggest planet in our galaxy, on your appearance, making you maybe taller than somebody else or just larger and bigger. If you have Jupiter in your second house, this will indicate that you have a lot of luck with your own personal finances. This also affects your confidence and self-worth. So people who have Jupiter in their second house, they might be very, very confident people. Similar to having Jupiter in your first house, you could be somebody who finds a lot of luck in their own appearance, which in turn makes them very confident. These people could be very well known and recognized for being beautiful, or just be somebody who people really like to look at, and therefore it makes them very confident. These people could also have a lot of skills. Having Jupiter in your second house can really indicate this person has a lot of skills and can do a lot of things. Depending on the sign ruler of your second house, for example, if you have Gemini ruling your second house, you could be somebody who has multiple different skills and multiple different talents, as Gemini indicates multiples of things. Or if you have something like Scorpio ruling your second house, you could be somebody who has a lot of abundance and talents and skills and things involving like astrology, numerology, tarot, anything involving the occult or spirituality or magic. You might have a lot of skills and gifts and talents there. Also, having Jupiter in your second house, which rules over your own personal finances. You could be somebody who will never know poverty. You could be somebody who will always have some sort of financial foundation. You might be able to just breeze through life and succeed in the financial realm. Even if you don't work a normal 9-to-5 job, you could still be very financially abundant with this placement. You could be somebody who easily attracts money into your life. Having Jupiter in the second house, you can easily accumulate large amounts of wealth. A lot of billionaires or multimillionaires have this placement because they can easily attract money to them. They might also appear more self-confident because people might view them as attractive or eccentric, or there's something about them that is very different and interesting, and so people really like them. So a lot of people with Jupiter in the second house also can become something like a celebrity because they will be very self-confident people and have a lot of self-worth, and due to this they will be able to attract a lot of finances to them. If they start a product or they start a business, it easily accumulates to them. The few celebrities who have Jupiter in the second house are Kylie Jenner. Jeffree Star also has Jupiter in the second house, as well as Britney Spears and Selena Gomez. Kylie Jenner and Selena Gomez are both known for being billionaires. They've been able to attract a lot of wealth and accumulation throughout their entire life. They also are people who got into the spotlight and have been very recognized for their beauty and their appearance. If you have Jupiter in your third house, you could be somebody who is very intelligent and has a very good way with words. You're also somebody who could be very successful on something like social media, as the third house rules over social media. So Jupiter can expand upon your social media presence, and you could even become something like an influencer very easily. If you have Jupiter in Gemini, this can also indicate being a social media influencer, but having Jupiter in your third house, you might be well known and recognized for speaking and communicating. Having this placement, you could also have a very successful podcast or anything that involves just, speaking and communicating. You might be very successful in. You might also be a very successful person in something that involves communications. Forming your entire job around communications, where you're a communication specialist, a marketing specialist, advertiser, a communicator for an entire organization. You might find that you're very lucky in that. People with this placement might also become very successful authors or writers, where they are writing and creating things involving communications and involving things that you think a lot about, things that involve a lot of mental capacity, really like coming up with like a long anthology. You might be very successful in if you have this placement. Again, a lot of influencers or people who are well known on social media have this placement as well. Having this type of placement, I wouldn't say necessarily translates to having a mass social media following, but might be very well known on social media and can easily rack up the views on social media. Might easily be able to go viral by having this placement because you have a lot of luck in just thinking, communicating, and the mind. There might be other placements in your chart that can indicate that you'll accumulate a mass following, but third house is primarily involved with thinking and communicating and posting things on social media that involve communications. If you have Jupiter in your fourth house, you are a very fortunate person with your home life. You have a very good home life. You typically will have like a very nice domestic home life. Your house might be very nice. Your living situation might be really nice, and you could have a really, really good relationship with your family. And when you tap into your own home life and your family, you'll find a lot of luck throughout your entire life. Having this placement, you could be somebody who works a normal job, but having a family helps you move up in the company. There's something about having a family and having a nice home and really working on your own home life will help you in your career. People might see you in a more favorable light. They might like you more. They might really be charmed by the way that you have a family, you have kids, you have a beautiful house, and they really like you for that. Having this placement, you might also have a lot of luck with women, no matter your gender. You could be any gender, and you might have a lot of luck with women. Women might enter your life, and you could have friend groups that are predominantly women, and they just really see you in a very favorable light and really like you. Having this placement can also indicate being very emotionally intelligent, and you could even be kind of psychic in a way. You might have a very good emotional foundation, and your home life might be really nice as well. If you have Jupiter in the fifth house, you are most likely very talented and creative. You love to perform, and you love to be in the spotlight. You love to to go out and party and be the center of attention. You love to entertain other people, and you're also very creatively talented. If you decide to create entertainment, you could be somebody who be a singer, you could be somebody like a content creator, you could be someone who creates things that people see in the public eye, and you'll be very fulfilled and very successful in doing so. You might also be somebody who creates a lot of art throughout your entire life. Jupiter tends to expand upon anything it touches, and it being in your 5th house will expand upon your creative skills, your creative talents, your desire to entertain other people, your desire to perform in front of other people, and you'll also be able to be successful just doing that. Many very famous performers and entertainers have many 5th house placements. I would say most of them have their moon in the 5th house, as that indicates that they feel very emotionally fulfilled by creating things and entertaining others. But having Jupiter there, you might find that you have a lot of luck and abundance there, and you learn from those entertainers about how to become better at what you so desire to succeed in. Again, you might create a lot of things. You might create so many songs or a lot of art. You could also be someone like a visual artist. You could create beautiful visual art pieces. You could create pottery. You could create a lot of things. When we think about Jupiter, it's all about expansion. So you could create a lot of pottery, a lot of songs. You could create a lot of art. You could create a lot of content. It's abundance. You might also find that you have a lot of luck when you do this, and you might be able to survive financially just being an artist. You might also be somebody who would do really well on a platform like Fiverr or Etsy, because you love to create so many things that you might want to create actual tangible art pieces and sell them on those platforms and be able to become financially abundant, because again, Jupiter is a lot. It's expansion, it's growth, and being able to mass produce things yourself and mass produce artwork, you'd be able to do really well on those platforms. You might also be very successful being like a graphic designer for a company where you're producing a lot of art that you did yourself. You tap into your creative gifts and skills and produce a lot of things. Jupiter is all about expansion, so it can indicate making a lot of something and being very successful and lucky in doing so. If your Jupiter placement is in your 6th house, you could be somebody who has a very good work life and just a very good like routine and day-to-day routine. You might even be somebody who might film what I eat in a day or vlogs on YouTube, and people just eat that up. Like, they love it so much. They love to watch you in your day-to-day life, and you find so much luck in it. You might be somebody who shows their day-to-day life through their vlogs, and you might be somebody who will be able to just profitize off of that, and people will love it so much because, again, Jupiter is all about luck and expansion, and it being in your 6th house, you have like a very fortunate, good day-to-day life. You have a good work life. You typically will have good relationships with your coworkers, which is so important. All the things that are mundane to you, you might find that you find a lot of luck in, like your fashion choices, the way you eat, the way you do your hair. If you post that online, you'll find a lot of luck in that. Like, the things that you find mundane, they will find very influential. Things like that, you'll find a lot by having this placement. Having this placement can also indicate being somebody with really good health. So you could be somebody who's always been very fortunate with their health throughout their entire life. They've never gotten sick, you've never broken a bone, you've never been in the hospital, you've just been very fortunately healthy throughout your entire life. You don't really have anything strange happening to your health unless there's something like Uranus there, which can indicate like strange, abrupt things happening. Jupiter will typically protect you from those things and also expand upon your good fortune and expand upon your health, and you'll have typically like a good work life as well as good relationships with your coworkers, which will in turn give you good health. If you have Jupiter in your 7th house, you might be a very popular person. You could be somebody who has always been popular their entire life. Many people like you, they like to be around you. With this placement, you might find that you've always been in a relationship as well. You could have been in a relationship in high school, maybe even back to like elementary and middle school. You always have had like a best friend, or like you've always had a partner or something like that, where you feel like you've always kind of had to be codependent on somebody, or they've been codependent on you. There's like a codependency that tends to occur when you have 7th house placements natally. You might also feel like you always have to have someone with you in order to be successful. You might not be able to do things completely independently, but in turn it makes you very popular and people really like you. Having this placement, you might also find that a lot of people think you're very attractive, so they become very attracted to you and want to be in a relationship with you. This could happen a lot throughout your entire life and you might not understand why, but having Jupiter in this house will indicate this. You're a popular person, and no matter your appearance, people are just attracted to you. Like, you might not even be like societally deemed attractive, but for some reason people just really think you're very attractive anyway and want to be in a relationship with you. They want to be around you, they want to be with you, or they want to be like you, they want to be your best friend, something like that. And you find this expansion throughout your entire life. Having this placement, you might also get married at a very young age. Because you have so much luck, you could be somebody who marries their high school sweetheart, or just people have entered your life so much when you were younger that it just turns into a marriage very early on. If you have Jupiter in your 8th house, you're very spiritually in tune, very spiritually inclined. You might be somebody who knows a lot about astrology, numerology, tarot. You could be somebody who's very well practiced in the occult. Having this placement, you might also have a lot of success with finances. For example, if you have Jupiter in your 8th house and you start a career or a business around other people's money, or acquiring other people's money, working with other people's money, you'll have a lot of luck here. The 8th house is all about rapid gains. Unexpected rapid gains seems to happen with the 8th house, whereas with the second house is all about your own personal earning power. The 8th house is more like unexpected gains. It's like winning the lottery, being able to acquire mass amounts of wealth very fast. However, there's a lot of other things about the 8th house. That's only one thing that it can indicate. But the 8th house, it can be kind of like a dark house. It's very associated with the sign of Scorpio, and Scorpio can really be about dark themes. Again, like things involving the occult, traumatizing things that might have happened to you, very dark themes. It's all about transformation. I feel like the 8th house, just in general, regardless if we're talking about Jupiter or not, but the 8th house is all about like traumatizing you until you transform into another version of yourself, into that higher version of yourself. If you have a very strong 8th house year, you'll find that that's kind of exactly what happens to you. You might go through traumatizing things or bullying or something like that that forces you to go into the higher version of yourself. You could change everything about yourself, and in order to escape that trauma, and turns you into another version of yourself. By having Jupiter in the 8th house, you might find that you might have a lot of traumatizing experiences throughout your entire life as well. I wouldn't rule out being able to make large financial gains, but it's very possible as well. So like you could do something like create like an online presence, and then you make large financial gains very easily in order to protect yourself from future trauma. There's a lot of things that could happen with the 8th house. It's a very intense house and it's a very deep house, and having Jupiter here can really expand upon that intensity and that depth. So you might also be someone who's kind of like a psychologist as well, because you want to dive into the deep depths of like people's personalities and what's truly under the surface. So there's a lot of different ways that Jupiter in the 8th house can take on that energy, but most of the time it'll be having more luck with other people's resources. A lot of people come into your life to help you and help you with their resources, and you might again experience some traumatizing things when you have Jupiter in the 8th house. If you have Jupiter in the 9th house, you are somebody who is going to be very well traveled throughout your entire life. You love travel, you love going new places, you love visiting new places, you like going places and learning from different cultures. You're also somebody who loves higher education, and you really had a great time in college, to the point where you might not just want your bachelor's degree, you're gonna wanna get your master's, your doctorate, your second doctorate. You might even be somebody who has so many degrees after their name. I feel like most of us kind of see that, okay, I can go to college, I can get my bachelor's, I might get my master's, but you might be somebody who really likes that area of life. You might really like going in university, you might love higher education. So you could be somebody who wants all of these certificates next to your name. You might even be somebody who wants to become a doctor or wants to become a professor in a university. You might want to only work in our education system. You might feel very fulfilled by working in the education system as well. Depending on the placements in your chart, for example, if you have fifth house placements, you could want to be like an elementary school teacher or a middle school teacher, where if you only have ninth house placements in your chart, this could indicate that you would just want to be somebody who works at a college level or even like high school AP classes or college, university, and higher level. You might be somebody who wants to do that, or you might even want to be somebody who creates education for people and educational resources. If you don't work in a college or university, you could want to create educational materials online for people. You could want to write books, you could want to create YouTube videos, you might want to create educational content for people in some way. And you might really like the idea of traveling different places as well, visiting the world, and even studying from different cultures and growing your accumulation of knowledge and sharing with the world in whatever method you desire. If you have Jupiter in your 10th house, you might be very well known and recognized from an early age. This placement can also indicate that you might become a celebrity or somebody who's very well known, recognized, and famous. You might have a lot of achievement and success early on in life. You might have success throughout your entire life. The 10th house is all about fame, recognition, reputation, being in the spotlight, being famous, being successful, being a CEO or a boss or somebody who has their own company, and Jupiter being there, which is all about luck and expansion. And you're gonna find so much abundance in your public image. You might be somebody who is a celebrity or a public figure or somebody who's just like in the spotlight, and people will see you, they will recognize you, and they want to see you in the spotlight. They want to see the things that you create. And knowing the sign that rules over your 10th house will be able to provide you more information into like the type of industry you should go in and the energy in which you should seek to emulate with your public image in order to become the most successful. For example, if you have your Jupiter and 10th house in Pisces, perhaps you should be somebody who creates things for a living and becomes like a fashion designer or a videographer. Many famous movie directors have their 10th house in Pisces. Hal Ashby has his 10th house in Pisces, and he is somebody who is very famous for being a movie director. He's directed a lot of different films that are very famous and very popular, and his 10th house is all about Pisces energy. So having Jupiter there in like a Pisces 10th house will indicate that you're going to be very, very famous and popular. Some celebrities who have Jupiter in their 10th house are Lady Gaga, Nicki Minaj, Paris Hilton. All of these people have been very famous for a long time, and not only this, that they're very well known and recognized for being famous. Paris Hilton specifically is kind of famous for being famous. She's done a lot of other things, but most people just recognize her as a celebrity and a public figure. I feel like that's the energy that having Jupiter in your 10th house brings you. Lady Gaga is also very, very famous, and she's been famous from a very young age. She's always wanted to be famous, and she has Jupiter in her 10th house, and it's conjunct her midheaven too. So she found so much abundance and success and luck in her public image, and she's created multiple albums. She's starred in movies, she's been in TV shows, she's done so many different things that she is very famous and very well known and recognized. Nicki Minaj also has this placement, which will indicate she's been in a lot of music. She's done a lot of music. She's had a very influential presence in the entire world. All of these things are very indicative of having Jupiter in your 10th house. If you have Jupiter in your 11th house, you might find that you have a lot of luck with your social networks. You could be somebody who is very lucky and successful when they tap into their 11th house energy, and when they tap into their social networks, when they seek to grow an online presence. The 11th house is all about social media. It's all about being in the spotlight. It's all about having that social media presence and having those networks and groups of people. The 11th house is so associated with networks and groups of people on social media. These people could find that they have so much abundance in the amount of followers that they have on social media. They could very easily accumulate a lot of followers very fast because of having Jupiter in the 11th house. They might also become very strong manifestors, or people who when they tap into the things they seek to manifest, their hopes, wishes, and dreams, they might find that those things actually happen in their lives. The 11th house is all about potential gains. So you might also be somebody who has a lot of potential for a lot of financial gains, or just a lot of potential for being very successful in your life. People might see you and be like, oh, this person has a lot of potential for being very, very successful. I really like them. I want to support them. People could get that energy from you, and you could easily accumulate a mass following on social media. You could easily get a lot of people and a lot of eyeballs on you with this placement. People might really, really like you with this placement as well and seek to see you in the spotlight. If you have Jupiter in the 12th house, you could be somebody who has had some very intense things happen in your life. Having Jupiter in your 12th house can indicate that you have expansion on things that are kind of difficult. Like your past might have been difficult. You could have had a hard upbringing. You could also have like strange things happen to you. Maybe you get put in the hospital for some reason, or maybe you have like a random thing happen to you with your health. Like there's a lot of random things that have happened throughout your entire life involving like darker themes. I feel like the 12th house is always kind of like a scary house where so many dark things are hidden within the 12th house. The thing about the 12th house is like you went through this dark period and traumatizing things happen to you, and in order to get out of that traumatizing period, you have to turn towards spirituality to try to find a way out of that. You might find that you are alone most of the time or live by yourself. You might find that you're isolated more than not. You could have hidden enemies or things like that when you have Jupiter in the 12th house. 12th house is all about expansion, so you could find you have a lot of things happen like that in your life. I would say that some people tend to think that having Jupiter in your 12th house will protect you from certain things because it brings you luck. With this placement, you might find luck in the fact that you went through all these things, as people might see you in a more favorable light because you can turn all of that pain and intensity into something that people will view you in a positive light for. They might celebrate you for those things. They might want to give you more opportunities because of the things that happen to you. Everything like that, people might see you more favorably, and you might find that there's more luck in your life because you went through all of that. It's like, oh my gosh, this person, they went through this health situation, they were in the hospital. I want to give them this opportunity because I feel this sort of way emotionally. I seek to help them. You could experience a lot of things like that in your life, and people might really like you because of your tough upbringing and the things that have happened to you in your past. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video shines some light on Jupiter through the houses, and I hope that this is something that will help you understand your Jupiter placement. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. I post new content every single week.